Hey everyone, it is Coach Dovaclutch and I am back with some more Overwatch analysis. I took a small hiatus from doing individual player VODs and just played the game for myself and didn't really attach myself to a team or anything like that. But now that Overwatch League is back in session, I feel excited again to get back into analysis. Um, After this opening weekend, I have decided that the most interesting game that I'd like to look at is the Dallas Fuel versus the LA Valiant for a lot of reasons. The main reason being the sort of story and the uniqueness of the Dallas Fuel throughout the 3 years of the Overwatch League's existence. They have been the sort of prodigal team of the Overwatch League. Um, they've had they've always been marketable, they've always had fan favorites, but they've always either underperformed or slightly overperformed. No one can really peg them to where they're at. There's always a lot of hearsay about their coaching and their players and this and that. Yet they have like this legion of passionate fans, and they, filled out their homestand last year against the Outlaws, and there was a lot of hype coming into this season just from, the team itself. And then on top of that, you got the additions of Decay and Doha, and just this re-energized fan base based off Arrow's World Cup victory, and the hype of the opening Dallas homestand. There are a reasonable amount of expectations for the Dallas Fuel, at least for the first few weeks, and maybe for this season as well. However, this opening weekend did not go well for the Dallas Fuel. They did not show up against the Valiant, who most people thought they would beat, especially since the Valiant is pretty much a new look Valiant. And even though the Dallas Fuel performed admirably against the Titans, they didn't really show up at all. And so we ended up with a pretty sad group of fans at the homestand, and just sort of a lot of more questions than answers for the Dallas Fuel. So the purpose of this analysis specifically is to try to answer what went wrong for the Dallas Fuel against the Valiant. I'm not going to cover the Titans game because a lot of the same problems persisted, but we can sort of find the root of those problems in this game against the Valiant. We're going to look at Blizzard World, and then we're going to look at Horizon Lunar Colony, because the Fuel run two different types of comps, and they still run into the same sort of issues. There are a few things that are permeating throughout this Dallas Fuel team that they just keep on showing up for these first few games. And I'm gonna actually backtrack and sort of start from the beginning. Um, and we'll pause it right here. Their first main issue is they have a not great sense of routing or rotations. Now, pathing as well. Um, it's lacking a lot for this team, and it's very noticeable in Blizzard World, and it was noticeable all weekend. Now, disclaimer: part of this could just be early season nerves, right? Because they're in front of a very loud home crowd. Another part of it is they have a pretty mixed roster of players, and they also have two new players. And just sort of meshing that takes time, regardless of if you're bringing in vets or if you're bringing in rookies. That just takes time. That's just a team thing in any sport, esport or real life sport. So that's definitely part of it. We're not super comfortable as a team. But that's a small percentage of the problem. The main problem I noticed was that no one is really sure where to go when you watch and we're going to look at this. No one's really sure where to go in terms of attack or defense. It seems like it's six different people playing on one team versus one team made of six people. It looks like flows and cadences and rhythms are vastly different throughout all six players. The support line isn't talking to the tank line, who aren't talking to the DPS. And on top of that, internally, they don't seem to be meshing as well. The supports themselves don't seem to be meshing, the tanks themselves don't seem to be meshing, and the DPS themselves don't seem to be meshing. So any successful plays that the Fuel have are just because the roster is talented enough to make plays. And I will say this as another disclaimer: roster talent is not the issue for the Dallas Fuel. There are some good players here. Um, at least border like baseline solid. There's no bad player in this lineup. There's a lot of potential. Gonna just get rid of this. There's a lot of potential with these two, and we'll get to them eventually. But the other four are very solid Overwatch League players. But the issue is rotations. Let's look at it. It looks. So we put up a wall. Doha puts up a wall, and it looks like the idea is that we want to sort of wrap around this. Hold on 1 second. The fuel want to run around this pole, and sorry, they want to wrap around here and sort of make a beeline towards point, because the comp they're running is, well, actually let me backtrack. Let's talk about the comps they're running. The Valiant are running. No one knows what the meta is just yet. It's still pretty much sort of settling down. But the Valiant are running the sort of comp flavor of this opening weekend. This is the standard one that everyone ran, pretty much. McCree, Mei, Ryan, Diva, Ana, Lucio. Some minor tweaks, some minor adjustments, some minor variations, but this was the mainstay comp for most teams throughout the weekend. So they're running what is standard so far, quote-unquote standard. The Fuel are running a very unique double barrier comp, because it's not really fully a bunker comp, and it's not really fully a brawl comp. It's more of a double barrier poke comp. Which you can call this the poke comp. And there's also precedence for running this comp because it was run Rhino Orisa at the beginning of, or I guess in sort of the prime of Orisa Sigma, or right before it. Rhine Orisa was seen as the sort of predecessor to that. Then Orisa Sigma happened, and then the Sig Risa nerfs happened, and now we're where we're at. So this comp has some precedence. And then the other level of precedence it has is that it was run by the Paris Eternal this past weekend as well. So this isn't like a throw comp in any sort of, way, shape, or form. That being said, this poke comp, this, half brawl, half bunker comp, or just call it Ryan Risa, the whole point of it is that, or at least for this past weekend, is that this iteration you want to create space for your carry DPS. You want to make space for your McCree to get open shots. That's sort of the whole point. And the fights, or I guess the type of fights that this poke comp is looking for are sort of long extended line of sight fights and really tight-knit brawls, because Orisa and BAP aren't necessarily brawlers, so to speak, but they can provide enough sustain and damage in a brawl that the Rhine and Ryan, Lucio, and May can take advantage of the situation. In a very close brawl, the Orisa versus Diva matchup is very interesting, because even though Diva can eat the halt sort of orb, she has a lot of trouble just maintaining and mitigating all of the damage that Orisa can do with her giant clip. So we definitely want either range battles to enable our McCree, or we want really like tight-knit, scrappy battles where our Ryan can swing while the enemy team is trying to mitigate all of the damage that Orisa can do, and Baptiste can do. So that's what we're looking for in this. So my guess is that the Fuel are going to try to rotate around, force the Valiant to come off the high ground, and have a small engagement where they can take advantage of these three. Well, this guy too. But it doesn't necessarily happen here. Doha gets slept. KSF hits a huge wall. We're going to talk more about KSF later, but he hits a huge wall to split this comp up, and then the rest is kosher. You have a slept May, Ryan's by himself, Baptiste is over here, Diva's over here messing with these two guys, and then the fight's over. Lastro hits a big nade, and like I said, the rest is kosher. I'm just gonna play it in slow motion so you can just see what they're actually doing. Okay. I'm gonna backtrack now, and I want to look at it from the actual player's point of view. So if we go to Gamsu, get rid of this. And this is where the slow rotations, or the unsure rotations of the Dallas Fuel really pop into play. This is at full speed. No one seems to really know where they're going. We take poke, we put up a wall, and we, the Dallas Fuel, are really slow to take that engagement. And you can see it right here. Sorry. Okay, we'll just do it from the beginning. There's a very clear miscommunication on this side. Take the poke, take the poke. We get the wall in because we're trying to get the fight over here, right? We want this little brawly thing. But it looks like there's a miscommunication of whether the Fuel want to take this fight right here. Like, do we speed in? Sorry. Do we speed in there? It looks like we are trying to speed in there. Or are we trying to actually speed around the statue and go to point? Again, there's a clear miscommunication between who is going where, and in that one instance where we stop and figure out what we're doing is when we lose the fight. Doha gets slept, KSF hits the huge wall, Note takes the engagement, and this is just a really scrappy fight that the Valiant come out the victors in. This is not clean Overwatch, and this is not a clean rotation or a clean engagement from the Dallas Fuel. Like I said, part of this could just be nerves because of the home crowd. Part of this could be, just, you have a mixed roster. Maybe there's some legitimate communication issues. Maybe this is a coaching issue in which people are unsure of where they're actually going on this map. I'm not sure, but I can tell you just sort of objectively that this is not clean enough for a pro team. Something is amiss. Something is amiss. That doesn't just happen by mistake. Now, the Fuel on this engagement move a lot quicker. So that tells me that the plan was to originally go left around the statue. Gamsu with a huge pull, by the way, because once he pulls off Lastro, the Valiant have to drop because they have no main heals and they have to protect their Ana. And then we finally get that really close-knit, scrappy brawl that this poke Sig Ryan Risa comp wants to run, and then the rest is kosher. That needs to happen earlier and much quicker. So cool. One successful team fight from the Dallas Fuel. Everyone, they achieved the comps win conditions. Alright, looking forward, the Valiant really like to hold this high ground. Again, this is a comp and communication issue. Well, let's keep watching. Again, this is a very weak rotation and a very weak engagement. Check a little more, I'm sorry. Yeah. Valiant are holding the high ground. Something is amiss, something is not being communicated the way it needs to be. Maybe, like I said, maybe they're unsure of their actual, what the coach told them to do. Maybe they're unsure of where they actually want to do it. There's something going wrong. Either you take this engagement up here, or you don't. What the Fuel are doing they're kind of stuck in transition. They're neither taking this. Sorry, they are neither taking this engagement like a hard engagement, nor are they poking. So it's kind of this weird, like, we're stuck in the middle, and Valiant, who are a very smart, well-coached team from what I can see, decide to take it because the Fuel put themselves on the back foot. And because they take a really half-assed engagement, Gig just charges in there. He's like, okay, if you're just going to stand here and do a whole lot of nothing, which is what the Fuel were doing, a whole lot of nothing, they weren't poking them out, nor were they actually fully engaging, then Gig is just like, well, I'm just going to go in. And then Doha throws a very ill-advised blizzard because they were down one, and again, they were on the sort of back foot, so I don't see the point in it. Okay. This engagement as well is another poor example of communications. The Fuel want to go around here, but they get walled off. The Valiant hard engage, pour out all of their ults into the Fuel. McGravy gets a massive play. Watching this engagement in sort of half speed. Looking up. Okay. This is fine. From what I can gather, they're going to let the payload rock. They're all going to go in here. They're going to take the engagement somewhere, or at least force the Valiant off the high ground. Maybe take the engagement over here, where they're safe and can poke for free while they have all of this natural cover. Win the fight, get some ults out. Probably just, you could probably put a window here, get them off the high ground, and then my guess is they're going to hard engage on closer's beat after the window got the Valiant off the high ground. And if that was a successful team fight, then it was. But if it wasn't, I think the other idea was just to get some ults out of the Valiant. Fine. That rotation makes sense to me. And again, leave the card as is. You'll be fine. However, if you just watch, I'm going to play this at normal speed, and then I'm going to play it at half speed. If you just watch how slowly the Fuel path over to this building. So I'm going to play it at normal speed first. You just sort of see how slow they are. And it's such an easy wall for KSF to play. They didn't have speed boosts, I don't think. Or they took some poke when they had no reason to take poke. Just make a beeline. Just make a beeline for it. Or try to bait out wall. Which is the other thing which I think they were trying to do, but it was also poor execution of that. But they move so slowly that KSF gets a free wall, right? It literally blocks that point completely, and then the rest is kosher. And you can see, let me clear the screen real quick. You can see just how fast the Valiant jump on the Fuel. Whereas the Fuel are moving slowly on their rotations and pathing, the Valiant are actually moving very quickly on theirs. They have very specific and clear win conditions, and this is a coaching thing as far as I'm concerned. They have been coached well enough so far to understand what those conditions are and when to act on them. Or whomever's doing the shot calling on this side is doing an incredible job of calling it. I don't know if it's Gig or I don't know if it's McGravy. I don't know if it's one of the supports. I'm gonna guess it's one of Gig or McGravy. So again, this is still normal speed, slow as hell rotation. Just go in, make a beeline. I don't like this. KSF plays the wall, and then literally like clockwork. Look how fast these guys get on. This is still normal speed. As soon as that wall goes off, look how they are on them like piranhas in the water, and they just vomit their ults onto them because why not? And if we watch again, they're just gonna go take that high ground again. They push up. Again, really intelligent fight engagement from the Valiant. They can be aggressive here because they basically have a free fight because they just won that one for free. Valiant are really fast in their rotations. They beat him to the spot. They force him back into this tiny choke. This wall again. I'm sorry, this like sort of path. Team is split. Doha gets a pick or two, but it is a very even, scrappy fight, and Doha's pushing cart. Valiant come out the victors in this though. Because they rotated back high ground. The pathing was from here. From here, sort of that little high ground. They went main, forced them into the Nexus building, and then they went all the way around. I believe they just like went all the way around. Really smart pathing, really smart engagements. This was a set play as far as I can see. The set play was taking it here, and they had a very clear path on how they were going to take Blizzard World on this Streets engagement. And again, even though it's a little scrappy and the Fuel get a few picks, they just can't keep up with this. They just can't keep up with this. Sorry, clear that. They just can't keep up with this. And I actually want to watch. Let's watch. Let's go back 20 seconds. So this is in about a minute of play. Okay. Alright, so we just won that fight with the bomb. Take a really aggressive fight. Fuel rotates over to cart. I mean, this is right where the Valiant want them. Their attention is split. It's a 3-on-3. Rain is doing an incredible job of bouncing between both sets of the Valiant. He's doing an incredible job of enabling his tanks and still being able to peel for his supports and DPS. That's brilliant Lucio play, what he just did. And I'm sorry, they just go right around onto the high ground. And this is just a scrappy fight. That again, the Fuel get a few picks, but it's not enough. That was really clean on the Valiant's part. Rain made that all possible. Again, now we try to sort of brute force it. Decay gets a huge pick on the Reinhardt. Decay gets 2. Decay's a really good player. Rain just sort of buying time. Decay gets 3. KSP with the huge switch to Widow. Gets 1. Gets Lamp. They still haven't seen Rain or shot him once in this whole entire thing. KSF is again doing a brilliant job as May. He killed Doha earlier. Killed the McCree. They restabilized and hold the point even though they were up 3 from Decay's killing. So how does that happen? We're gonna watch Note or Gamsu. We're gonna watch Note actually. We're gonna take it back a minute. Decay kills 3. And the Fuel still find a way to lose this, so this is clearly a pathing and rotation / target focus issue. I think people are moving in different directions and are unsure of what to do. Right, so we finally, we finally hard engage on the bridge. Decay gets 1 with the Deadeye. Gamsu's gone, and everyone's on the ground. The appropriate play here would have been just to make right a beeline a point. It's a cart, I mean. Right, this is right. This is correct. Everyone should be with him at this point. Decay gets 2. Shatter's fine. Crimzo D-Max. Ryan goes down. Gamsu gets the baby diva. Yeah. I think this is an issue of where the DPS actually went. So even though Decay gets a few, Doha was really out of position here. He doesn't secure the kills on either the support line, and he loses the duel to Mei. So this is really, you can thank this stall for KSF and for Rain, and that one important pick on KSP, but KSF does a lot of important work by killing the Mei and neutralizing that threat. And Rain, I think we watched his POV a few minutes ago, he just kind of stays alive throughout this whole thing. He provides a lot of peeling for McGravy and Lastro as well. And he still does it in a safe, it's a very clean and safe and just headstrong Lucio. He's very sure, at least on this map Rain is, he's very sure of what his role is at a very specific time. If he has to be peeling, he will peel his brains out. If he has room to be aggressive, he will do that. If he has room to, if he needs to just sort of stay back and keep his Ana alive, he will do that. So he played a really impressive Lucio, and it allowed his DPS to just get the important picks needed to stall this point. On the fuel side, Decay gets the picks. Crimzo demexed the diva, but losing this Mei was way too important, especially when, here's the thing, if you lose one of your DPS, neither of these tanks in this poke Ryan Risa comp can provide any important peel for the other DPS or for the supports. They can only sort of sit back and provide defensive utility, but they can't do what McGravy's doing in DM for their supports while the supports keep them alive, and that's what kills them. Gamsu can't really put his foot on the front. He can't put his front foot on the gas because he has to. He just can't. He can't protect, peel, and do damage. That's one of the limitations of this comp. And of course now they're restabilized. So let's see how Dallas takes this next engagement. Valiant has switched to Widow, and it's still Widow. So now this changes a whole lot of stuff. Tactically speaking, especially with only about 90 seconds left in the game, you're in 2-fight territory. 2.5 maybe. You know Valiant are about to have ults online. It's pretty even in terms of ultimates, so one big ultimate could really sway this team fight. You could win it in one fight, but you're really in 2-fight territory. Knowing that KSP is on Widow, and it's been a few seconds, so KSP, if he needed to switch back, would have done it already, but he hasn't, so he's definitely committing to the Widow. This has got to go, strictly tactically speaking, especially when Note is on your team, and Note is a diva one-trick. I don't want to say one-trick. He's a diva specialist. This needs to swap immediately. Gamsu, he can stay on Orisa, or he can go to Reinhardt, but Note has to go to diva. We have to keep this Widow in check. We're literally asking for this Widow to just control the map, essentially, especially with these really long, weird sight lines on Streets phase of Blizzard. Someone needs to make this call. I don't like hard-locking this comp with this amount of time left against this Widow. For a Widow at the Overwatch League level, you either need to match the Widow, you need to hard commit a dive comp to killing her, or you need to pick Tracer to harass her if you have the map geometry to do so. But doing none of those things, so no diva, no Tracer, no matching Widow, no hard commit with like a ball monkey or whatever, you're just asking for trouble, especially in like a very slow, especially as slow as Dallas is moving right now. I don't like this. They go under, right? Intelligent, and just get away from that Widow. Brick wall. Right? Zone out the diva. Gig is down. We should make a beeline right to cart right now. Dallas should just go right to cart. We're moving too slow. I keep saying I'm not a Dallas fan, but Dallas is moving way too slow. They didn't hard commit on KSF. They didn't commit to the cart, so they didn't force the Valiant to rotate. KSP got a pick because he's just free to shoot. There's no one to bother him, and then the rest is kosher. Let's watch this again. So even after the Valiant lost to main tank, they're still able to win this. Actually, I want to watch KSF. Gig goes down. That should have been the Fuels' trigger win condition to jump on the Mei. Don't worry about the D.Va. She's going to be on the high ground. She's going to be protecting her Widow. You know Ray's going to be peeling at this point. Go get the Mei. They will have 0-point presence, and you can safely hide behind double barrier and neutralize the Widow as best you can with the comp you have. Watch KSF. Gig is down, so KSF should be like worried. No one engages on him. Big beat. That should have been another trigger to engage. But no one engages on KSF. KSB gets the free shot, and again, the rest is kosher. There are big issues. Big issues. Oh, here we go. Big issues with communication. Let me go yellow. Or pink. Again, one is this rotation issue. Dallas are having trouble picking their fights and engaging on their just picking engagements and doing them intelligently. And then two, right now, their second problem is target focus. Especially when the ult battle, the ult economy for that fight was pretty even. As soon as Gig goes down, KSF needs to follow. That's the only way you're going to neutralize this Widow. With the comp you're running. Gig goes down, so big pick from Doha, you have to go to KSF immediately. Especially since he uses wall in that fight too. He might have it back up though. But force the wall out, force the ice block out. You know he doesn't have ult. But, like, just burn him down. Completely burst him down. And then take out the rest of the guys. But they don't. The Fuel have very poor and undisciplined target focus. They never attack KSF, so there's no pressure on the cart. There's no pressure on their sort of brawl that they could force with this comp that you want to do. And KSB gets free shots. And then they win the team fight. So we're definitely in one fight territory now. Slow engagements have hurt us again. We're moving so slowly here. They don't really have that much poke on this comp. The Valiant don't. Widow's not really there for poke. Mei, I guess, but not. I mean, not really. D.Va, not really. I mean, the best she has is missiles against a shield. There's not a lot of poke. The Valiant are not running much poke at all. They either take this fight. Well, they have the right idea by going up there, but they need a hard engage. The longer you wait against a Widowmaker, the worse time you're gonna have. It's gonna let her get into real nice positions. Decay goes for the right. That was a huge nade, by the way. But Decay goes for the Deadeye engagement, which makes sense. But he doesn't really get the appropriate protection. It's a good wall from KSF again. So fair, for sure, fair play to these two. Like those are huge plays. Like just, you know, objectively huge plays. But Gobson were just so slow to get this going. Why was Decay so much farther ahead of them? There's definitely there's something going on here. These are basic issues you shouldn't really be making at this level, especially for a team of this roster. The starting lineup is too talented for mistakes like this to be happening. There's for sure something happening. I don't know what it is. Even like taking into consideration, the newness of the team and the jitters and the rustiness. Even taking all that into the consideration, there's way too many very simple mistakes that the Fuel are making for just this level of play. Go on ahead. Okay, so let's talk about Doha. Well, not yet. We'll talk about Doha next map. Valiant running the same comp. Enable KSP. Peel for him. McGravy and Rain are just doing just incredible jobs of enabling KSP because they know he's going to hard carry him. Not that these players are bad, but they understand their roles really, really well. Actually, I'll speak on the Valiant right now. This is a roster so far, there are not really like superstar names on this team. There's some solid players on this team, experienced players with, some fresh faces in there as well. But, very, very solid players. And, players like KSP have done the contenders ringer, so to speak. He was on XL2 and all that stuff. So they have like good Overwatch players. The one thing that really stands out to me is that they seem to be the polar opposite of the Fuel. The Fuel seem to be a group of 6 players who are 6 individuals playing on a team. The Valiant seem to be one group of 6 players who are meshing very well. They are a team. They understand how to work together. The Fuel are just 6 different people who just happen to be playing together. There's no synergy on the Fuel right now. There's a lot of synergy on the Valiant. Rain, Lastro, McGravy, Gig, KSF, and KSP. And KSP's got some serious potential, by the way. Some serious, like, hard carry potential. Aside, putting that all to the side, they're just working for each other. They are taking engagements intelligently. They are taking them together. They are taking them aggressively. They are playing defensive when they need to. They are cycling ultimates very well. KSF has played a very, very intelligent Mei for these 2 phases. Really, just getting maximum value out of his walls. Using walls to dictate engagements. It's just brilliant Mei play. Buying time for KSP to do his thing. Finding the time. He's being the ultimate utility DPS player, and it's great. He gets it. He gets that the more he uses his utility as a DPS player, the more it will allow a player like KSP to really shine. Lastro understands that. Rain understands that. McGravy understands that. Gig understands that. They are totally working as a cohesive unit. And the Fuel are just the opposite. No one seems to be in sync. No rotations are clean. No engagements are clean. There's micro mistakes that, I would be talking about like a Diamond VOD or something like that. I shouldn't have to be making it with like Decay or Doha. But they're making those small mistakes. Pulls that don't make any sense. Fire strikes don't make any sense. Walls that are bad. Wasted nades. Wasted song management on Lucid. These are things that should not be happening to players that are this talented. So it leads me to believe that something is a little deeper of an issue for the Fuel right now. I like the Valiant. They're gonna be fun to watch. It's a full team of 6 people really trying to get it, and some room for some breakout stars. Okay, let's watch this. See how the Fuel play defense. Okay, so this is interesting. Doha on Doomfist. Note on Zarya. This is fine. This comp is fine. The Fuel seem to be favoring these brawly comps. Some more sort of close engagement. This is fine. The big thing, though, about running a Doomfist here is that you gotta... The caveat about running a Doomfist is that it works as the antithesis to what the Fuel are actually not very good at. They're bad at calling rotations and engagements, right? We've established that. Rotations and engagements. If they're bad at it, then Doomfist right now is a terrible call, because the way you get value out of Doomfist at this level is by knowing specifically when he's going to come in the flow of a team fight. Is he going to come in early? Is he initiating the fight? Is he coming in mid-fight? Is he coming in at the end to clean up the scraps? Do you want him engaging on tanks so you can get, like, so you can bust him? Do you want to put him in positions to 1v1? Like, what are you trying to do with your Doomfist? Every Doomfist, all the Doomfist play we've seen, especially last year, was about how each team who ran Doomfist had a different flavor of that Doomfist. Some, like a Sinatra Doomfist was like super aggressive. A Hawkstyle Doomfist was like incredibly aggressive. Like he'd lead the fight in, and people would just give him the bubbles and the pockets and this and that because they knew he would just get picks. Some, like, NYXL played like a more defensive Doomfist. They would wait for tanks to engage. Maybe they have like Mono and Meko get stuff rolling as the tanks, and then like you'd have Libero was on him, and Libero will come in mid fight to help with the kills. Get final blows at the end of the fight. If you're having trouble with this step one part, you're not gonna get much value out of Doomfist at this level. And Doha can play Doomfist just fine. So, something to pay attention to. This is fine. This is fine. We know that they at least wanted to go for something early, because Doha, I believe, was over here. He got no value. He got out. He got bubbled. So we're good. Now, how funny is this? This is like the complete opposite of what the Fuel did in our first point when they were on attack. Valiant just made a beeline around the statue. Just go. And that was what I was saying earlier. If you're just gonna go, you're gonna go. But just wall out the defense and just make a move. And they're just making a beeline towards point. They have point control. It took them 25 seconds to get point control. This is a problem for the Fuel. This is, again, this is very sloppy play. This is very uninspired play in terms of rotations, and just the way this is uninspired tank play. As soon as Doha got out, gonna backtrack of 20 seconds. Okay. Just gonna watch Doha real quick. This is fine. Doha's gonna go in early. We're gonna get some value for him, right? He's gonna wait. He got shot by McCree, so he knew he had to get out. Okay. As soon as this happens, the Fuel need to drop, because the value you were gonna get out of Doomfist is gone. He's got no abilities. You got no bubble, and you know there's a McCree back here. So right now, the Valiant have all of this space. Doha wanted it, but McCree's already here. KSP's already here. So you know KSP's going through here. You know the rest of the 5 are coming through here. So they now own this map. They own this space. This is the Valiant space. The Fuel can't drop down here because they're going to lose that fight because McCree has a flank on them. So the only logical thing is to either meet him at the spot, or rotate it. Sorry, meet him at the choke, or meet him at the point. Those are the only two options that they have. The wrong thing is staying up here, because they're going to get no value out of anything. Doomfist is retreated. What is he going to do? This comp is relying on Doomfist's ability to get value. So again, another blunder from the Fuel. Hard rotation over. This is really great stuff for the Valiant. Hard rotation over as a unit. They're ready to go. Man, Rain, what a player. They're ready to go. And here we are. The Fuel are late. The Fuel are late. I mean, this is way too late. This is way too late. I mean, they're already at the point. They're already at the point by the time they drop down. They've quite literally lost point control. They've let the Valiant take the point, and now they're on their back foot. The Fuel. Decay. This is a smart position from Decay. I like him. This is a smart position. He's gonna at least sort of deny this space a bit. Doha gets slept, and then spoiler alert: the Valiant win this fighting cap point. Once Doha retreated back up here, the Fuel needed to make that rotation over either to the choke or to the point because, again, you need to figure out how you're going to get value out of Doomfist, and if he's literally stuck with you guys standing around, he's not getting any value, and there's no point in picking him. He gets slammed. And that's it. We literally took point control. The Valiant literally took point control from the Fuel. Like I said, very uninspired tank play, and just very, I mean, this is, you just can't be this slow on the mark. There's something going on with the Fuel, man. I know I keep saying it, but this is way too sloppy for just like little issues. Might as well go for the retake, by the way. Just burn whatever time you can. Gamsu gets a pick or two, but it's just, it's neither here nor there. Even on this setup, the Valiant have already taken this high ground much quicker than the Fuel did, even though the Fuel, after the Fuel capped first point last round, they were just way too slow to even just rotate up here. The Valiant are just there. They were well coached for this map. They knew exactly what they were doing. I mean, Crims was by himself. I mean, this is a comp game at this point. Valiant have done a really good job at flipping engagements. I don't know if that's a style that their coach has done, or if that's just something they agreed on doing, or set play, or what have you, but it's really, really nice. And what I mean by flipping is that, they will go all the way around where a team is set up in order to just have that defending team turn around and lose whatever defense they had on a cart or a point or what have you. It's really intelligent. Just turn the whole team around. I really like that. They take the high ground again. They took it on defense, and they're going to take it on attack. You're going to have to hope for the Doha pop-off at this point. Right, save us, Doom. Shatter goes down. Note gets one. Dallas just has to clean up. Rain is all over Crimzo. He's getting no peel because there's no Diva. Again, why is Note in the starting lineup if he's not going to play Diva? This is the second, or third one team fight from the Fuel, counting the first point attack on Blizzard World, and maybe one more fight afterwards. But they just, Okay, so we have Grav. That's about it. Ults are pretty even. The big one's gonna be KSF hitting a Blizzard. Your win condition can't be solely relying on eating a Grav or a Blizzard because it's just not fair to the Diva, but it's literally gonna be playing around this Blizzard. The Fuel try flipping the point or flipping the engagement the same way the Valiant have and actually do a pretty decent job at it. To be fair. They take the high ground, bridge, go all the way around, turn the Valiant around, laser her down with the Zarya. Smart. It's smart. there is some potential here. I know I've been ragging on him all game, but you know. Okay, hold the high ground. Oh, right, here we go again. KSB goes to Widow. He's not playing games no more. Okay, we go over and under. Through Nexus. It's a bad wall from Doha. Or from Decay, I'm sorry. It's a bad wall from Decay. Better wall from KSF. Because the wall was bad, the Valiant are allowed to take the high ground now. So the Fuel have to take a really hard engagement, especially when they have Shatter, but they whiffed it. Commentator's curse. Big beat. Get Gig out of there. Get him out of there. Doha with a big move. Okay, this is good. This is good. KSP gone. KSP should switch, because Widow's not going to get Valiant the next minute. We're in 1 fight territory. At least 1 fight. I wouldn't be scared, or I wouldn't be afraid to play aggressive here. Especially since you have Blizzard, and Grav is going to come online pretty soon. I would play it here. Like right here. I would play the Blizzard. I don't like that the Fuel allowed... Yeah, see, this is... I don't like this. The Fuel played really conservatively here and just kind of walked backwards. Allowed the Valiant to beat while they were very close to cart, thus making the engagement on a sort of small map, so to speak, because they just closed the space down, Valiant did. And then they had a beat, so they had a lot of health. And I have no idea where we're holding on to this, especially when we have Grav coming online. The play here is definitely to get one of these two off pretty soon. Pretty soon. Because, I mean, if you lose the fight, regardless if you lose the fight here, it's over. If you lose the fight back here, it's over. If you lose the fight, period, it's over. So you might as well take it pretty aggressively. Yeah, I think you look for a Blizzard up here. Or Grav up here. One of the two. DM's gone, DM's gone, DM's gone, DM's gone. They speed in. Valiant speeds in. They beat. KSF gets a pick. So yeah. Now we play Blizzard, which gets eaten because now we know the Blizzard's going to get played because there's nothing else left to play, and the rest is kosher. There's absolutely zero reason why... There's zero reason why this took so long. As soon as they sped in, that Blizzard should have been out to play. As soon as they sped in, we should have played for Grav. This is just very sloppy play. This is poor tanking. This is poor shot calling. This is poor, just teamwork. This is not clean Overwatch. Gig hits a big shatter. Gamsu looked really outclassed in the Gig matchup, and I think a lot of it was because Gig had just better teammates around him. They were really enabling him to do his work. Okay, so we really broke down their issues with rotations. We're going to look at Horizon Lunar Colony and look at another problem that the Fuel have. Put an X next to that. Second thing is synergy. Hero synergy. Now this doesn't disappear. This is still a problem in the second map. But now this problem comes into existence on Horizon Lunar Colony. So let's take a look